Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn. My headset's on backwards. This is turn 72. Sorry about that. Okay, let's jump into things. What did we do last turn? We had a bunch of summons of Black Servants, summons Upayas, Wakas, etc., etc. Those are all kind of like gimmies. We know what's going on there. So let's check our augury. Nothing. Is what it is. Unfortunate. We have a transformation. Echidna transformed into a swamp drake. This is also another kind of interesting variant. I don't think... I mean, you do have more HP, but I don't think this is necessarily as good as, like, the Hydra Hatchling, because I don't think you have as good traits. You do actually have a very high supply bonus and poison barbs, which is kind of interesting. I think poison barbs can do some interesting work against the right individuals. Kind of funny. And it does have a Drake Gas attack, but again, not what we're looking for. We really, really want to try to get a full slot bonus. So, unfortunate there. And then we have our little gamble. Little gamble cost us 30 freaking gems, but not 50 gems, 30 gems per cast. We're fishing for more elemental royalty. Another king of elemental earth. Hell yeah! Barathras joins us. And another queen of elemental air. Nefeli joins us. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so apparently people just have not been grabbing kings of earth or queens of air. I wonder if people are grabbing you know what? Probably what it is just a combination of, we were very late research-wise to a lot of things, but in part of what we were doing there was we were going up conjuration very quickly. Elemental royalty is one of those things that people get very about gambling on because they're expensive, right? They cost 50 freaking gems, and if someone else has it, or there aren't any left, you get nothing, right? So it is definitely a thing that I think some people are like, yeah, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get it soon, I'm gonna get it early, etc., etc., and then otherwise they're like, I'm not fishing for that at all. That's not worth it, right? So I feel like we're kind of lucking out, which is kind of cool. Is what it is. We got some battles to watch. Ulm versus Arco and Vanheim versus Arco. Ulm in the Sailor's Haven, which I believe we watched a fight last time. So this time, more Ulmish troops. Way more mage support this time around. Very, very cool. Including a fully kitted out Master Smith, Firebrand, Charcoal Shield, like Pebbles skin suit. This is what I love to see from Ulm. Just full fucking gear. Like, and not inexpensive gear on some of this, right? Like a charcoal shield is actually not inexpensive. Pebble skin suit, not inexpensive. Just really fucking decked out, which is really, really cool. Versus basically nothing. This is just PD. Arco did not keep around the shit that killed the Ulmish contingent last turn. So, very cool. This is a lot of individuals. I'm curious. I wonder if these... Are those black acolytes? Oh, I bet they are. I bet this is Warbode, right? They are. These black acolytes have warbows. So, they also have some Boots of Giant Strength and some Girdle of Mights, because this combo gives them +8 strength, meaning they get a little bit better of a warbow, 1/3, right? So pretty interesting. Warbows shooting 13 attacks. What is... I don't even remember what his bless is. The bless is unholy weapons and decay weapons and precision +4. Very fun. So, withering weapons, decay weapons. Wow, that's really interesting. I wonder if he's had any good luck with that. Sacreds. You know what? That's actually really good to know. Really good to know that Ulm has unholy weapons and has warbows. I need to make sure. I need to make sure I don't fight Ulm and make sure that Ulm doesn't fuck me. Make sure that Ulm doesn't backstab me, cause an army of these could actually be a pain in the ass. That being said, obviously, right? Like there's just Aerofend at this point, but still, that Aerofend, blocks 80% shot of your shots, right? But like, yeah. Wait, does Aerofend do a full 80? I can't remember. Or is Aerofend lower? Yeah, no, Aerofend is a full 80. I honestly feel like Aerofend should be less. I feel like Aerofend should be a 40. And I think if that was the case, it would bring projectiles back up in the meta, not to an overpowered point, but just better, right? Like have personal air shield still be 80. That's perfectly fine, right? But have Aerofend be only air shield 40 for the map, and I think that actually brings projectiles back into the meta in the late game. That brings builds like this back into the meta. That brings Pygmies, Flaming Arrows back into the meta for a longer duration of time, right? Like, actually makes them effective throughout the whole game. Whereas, there are certain nations that are just like, oh, one of my big tricks is doing Flaming Arrows. Oh, it's turn 30. I can't use that on anyone anymore. I say turn 30, but they could have used it on me until, like, turn 50. Ugh. Either way, that was really cool to see. And then Vanheim attacks Arco in Lost Canyon. Okay, we have a kitted out Vanyarl, Frostbrand, Gleaming Gold, gives him Awe. We got a Luck Pendant, very nice. We got Girdle of Might, Armor of Knights, no helmet, interestingly enough. Up against just PD. So nothing crazy cool this turn. Some fun stuff to see from the Ulmish side of things, but we see raiding against Arco, but we don't see any big wins for either side. Not to say that there aren't any, just none that we've seen. Stuff that we can actually report on now. We have an event in the Mammoth Grove. The local lawgiver has caught a traitor. After summary trial and execution, his belongings have been confiscated. Okay, so this is one of those kind of like mixed bags where like we get stuff out of it. It's good, right? But it's also bad because we get like unrest because the local populace is like, right? I think we're going to count this as a good one because overall I think what we're getting is way better than what we're losing. Events for the turn, 0, negative, 1, positive. In Mammoth Grove, we've got unrest plus 25. We got gold plus 129, and then we got an enchanted ring rail, which is kind of cool. It's not super cool, but it's kind of cool. Enchanted ring mail is a very basic armor down here. It's Astral 1, very cheap to make, and it's just a little bit of protection. It's got no map move penalty and very low encumbrance, which is kind of nice, honestly, but I don't know. This is not an option that I would normally make for most situations. Anyways, moving on from there, the construction of the fortress in Saturandith is completed. That's very nice. Very happy about that. And that's really it for turns from the last, or events from the last turn. Look at all of these fucking scout movements. Holy shit, I'm so happy about this. This is what recruiting 7 Runankas and summoning 4 Black Servants in a turn looks like, as we now are just sending people out all over the fucking place. We are going to cover Pelagia from head to toe in scouts to try to get exactly get a good idea of exactly what we're dealing with here, and go from there. And then we are going to try to get scouts in every major sector of the rest of the world, so we can really, really, really see, really understand what it is we're dealing with. The behemoth that is Vanheim, and the the valiant efforts of Arcosipale, I guess, and Ulm, which I just have questions about Ulm now, right? Like, ay. I want I on one hand, Ulm has been my ally for a very, very long time in this game. If you really combine Ulm and I as a single unit, we are actually terrifying. But we're not. We're close, but we're not. Um yeah, anyways, we've got scouts moving all over the place. We're going to continue to make some scouts, I think, both scouts and black servants. I don't think 4 black servants is going to be enough to cover the areas we want in Pelagia, and I don't think the 7 Renankas we recruited last turn is going to be enough to cover the parts of the earth that we're missing. So, we're gonna continue on that vein. Aside from that, we are moving around a bunch of Hatenruna, so that's kind of going on. And we are continuing to ferry forces back and forth from Satrandith to our capital, to Forgotten Woods, etc., etc. And I believe, yes, we are actually sending in our first... Are these all? Yes, they are. This is our first kind of little squad, led by a Koya, that we are sending over. This is our first little squad of over 100 experience pips, or experience points, 19 Huacas and 45 Supayas, and we're sending them into Omia. We're going to start to park little forces in Olifa, in Omia, in Dutrandine, in the Forgotten Forest, potentially down as far as Baral, etc. We're going to start to line the coast with these little forces, and hopefully, we are not going to... One, hopefully, no one's going to see shit because we're going to patrol all of these locations, right? And no one's going to be able to tell. But 2, even in the cases that a scout gets by here or there, or they can just kind of like see the next province over, that type of situation, which is like, you know, we can kind of do that, right? The hope is that we're going to see mostly long deads, right? It's going to be this army mainly consists of long deads, right? And then they'll see maybe a little bit of Huacas or Supayas or things like that, right? That is the hope, because we want to keep... We don't want someone to look at the coast and see this, right? And go, holy shit, right? So we're going to spread this all out so that there's not just like, oh, there's 500 Supayas in the Forgotten Woods. Rutro Raggy, right? Like, what are we doing about that? So we've got that whole situation going on. Very good. Again, maneuvering about Huacas, maneuvering scouts all over the place. And other than that, nothing big in the news, nothing crazy to discuss. All other diplomatic situations that I'm aware of are holding. We're continuing forward. So let's report on other things. Recruitment for the turn. Still nothing in our capital, and it breaks my heart every single time. We are recruiting 2 Runankas, 3 Huron Priests, 1 Hydromancer, and 5 Sun Guard. So, again, I make the decision to not do a Royal Malquis. I don't think we actually had the... I think actually we did have the gold because of the events in Mammoth Grove. But I think it was, if we do it, we can't also get a Hydromancer. And my current statement is Hydromancer every single time we can get a Hydromancer, because we're going to be fighting Pelagia. I need as many Hydromancers as I can. So I think it was basically that. And when that happened, I was like, oh, well, I guess since I want a Hydromancer, I won't get a Royal Malquis, and we'll go. Is what it is. Aside from that, we've got Nazcan recruits, 48 Hatenruna, 146 Long Dead Warriors, 13 recalled Supayas, 2 summoned Supayas for 14 Supayas, and 1 summoned Huaca for 7 Huacas. So we are continuing to kind of scale up there in the Long Dead Warriors. I think we went from 142 to 146 this turn. So that's just a plus, +4 bonus with the Amulets of the Dead continuing to kind of like scale us. We're running into income problems, just really, really bad income problems. Ever since we lost riches from beneath? Riches from beneath? Yes. Ever since we lost riches from beneath, we've really lost that kind of like uptick in income that was allowing us to produce things. And this is forcing our hand. We have to attack Pelagia, or Ulm or Vanheim. We got to attack someone soon, just so that we can continue to recruit a few things here or there. Not even so that we can recruit like crazy, just recruit a few things here or there. This is actually to the point in the game where I'm kind of like, I really wish we had a higher nature income, because I would totally make a play for like Gift of Nature's Bounty or something like that. I would sit here for... I'm already sitting here. While I was sitting here for the last however many turns, if we had 15 or 20 nature income, I would totally have been like, okay, well, we're just gonna fucking store up 600 nature gems and make a play for a Gift of Nature's Bounty and go from there, blah, 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 right? But we have an atrocious nature income, so that's not gonna happen. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Yeah. Moving on. We have a bunch. This is so interesting to me. We have a bunch of special recruits this turn. We have special recruits are normal Direwolf and Dustwalker. Sure, right? But we also, thanks to our elemental royalty and stuff like that, we could also be doing it with our Fairy Queen, but we're not right now. But thanks to the new elemental royalty that we have, we're summoning a lot of other allies in the tune of 1 Earth Elemental, 3 Earth Gnomes, and 1 Sylph. And this is actually another reason why I really do like elemental royalty, because they can net you, right? It's gonna be turn 72 by the time, or turn 80 by the time we're ready to fight Pelagia, a roundabouts. It's turn 72 now. If we're doing Earth Gnomes every single turn, we can have a small army of Earth Gnomes, right? And Earth Gnomes aren't exactly super great, but they're interesting, and they can go underwater, and they have built-in regeneration, and they'll take buffs, right? They can hold a fucking line, and that's really interesting to me. And sure, these elementals that we summon aren't going to be like Earth Elementals, aren't going to be size 6 Earth Elementals, but they're size 4 Earth Elementals, and a size 4 Earth Elemental can still trample a lot of shit, including a fucking Vanjarl, right? Like, so that matters in the right situation. Sylphs matter in the right situation, right? Like there's additional value outside of what one might expect from elemental royalty. Plus, I just, you know me, I've expressed this so many times already. I just like creating little mini armies. Again, there is a mod that I think just it makes every single province have crazy unique recruitment from like all of the different nations and things like that. Which one is really, really creative, I think, and very interesting. I kind of want to play around with that mod, but 2, I also think that mod could be taken further into, or a separate mod doing something similar, but having more unit summoners, right, I think would be really, really neat. Anyways, moving on. Very cool stuff. Very happy about that. We've got some rituals for the turn. Actually, fewer rituals than we have had previously. We're out of auguries. We have auguried. We've done everything. We have auguried the augury of the augury. Everything is auguried. We can't do it anymore. Oliva. What? Oliva could be... I've gotta do that. Can't do it this turn though. So we've done almost full site searching in almost every location. I do think I am missing out in the fact that I have not been sending around like a Inca to hit every single location with a 3 in Holy. Because there are quite a few different locations that you can get like a bonus 1 astral gem in out of that type of stuff. We also haven't hit Underhelm with air or water because you can't target underwater provinces with air or with Voice of Apsu or Auspex, which is really weird to me, but it is what it is. And then obviously we have a Bowl of Blood, which because we just don't have that. So pretty interesting. I think at the end of the day, the income that we have isn't horrible. It's just very particularly designed, right? We have high Earth, high Astral. We have okay Death, not counting Well of Misery. Okay Water, okay Air, and then we have pretty shite Nature, and we have just abysmal Fire. If we took the Earth and Astral and spread it out amongst Nature and Fire, I think we would pool across the board as kind of like, okay, acceptable, average. But we have some highs and we have some lows, and it is what it is. Anyways, moving on, shall we? We've got rituals for the turn. We've got 1 transformation. Echidna is going to continue on their journey. I'm wasting so many nature gems on this. I should stop. I really should stop. But I have a problem. And then we're doing 4 more Black Servants over in Forgotten Woods because we are sending. You can see we're sending out 1 into each different location, but we need more, right? We need to be able to cover Pelagia with scouts so we can really see what's going on. And then we are also doing a Vile Water up here. Yes, we're doing a Vile Water up in Olifa because we're going to. I think we're going to have another patroller go out to Pavonia or something like that with another Vile Water just because. So we've got that situation going. Pretty okay. And then since we're not doing as much this turn for Ultimate Gateway, we're only saving 6 Astral and 20 Death again because 2 castings of Summon Supayas. That's not. That math doesn't add up. Yeah, it does. That math doesn't add up. That is incorrect. That can't be correct. That's incorrect. That's gotta be incorrect. I gotta un momento. I gotta notate stuff and then I will do math. 2 Summon Supayas is 4 per Supaya, which is 8. 4 Black Servants is 2 per servant, which is another 8. That's 16. That is not 20 Death. So we are saving 6 Astral and 16 Death, which is still really good. Ooh, I bet I made that mistake in the last turn. I did. Well, whatever. So, 16 Death saved is still a lot of Death saved. Still very happy about that. Still, just raring to go as far as that situation is concerned. And then we have a lot of forging for the turn. We have 1 Lightless Lantern, 2 Skull Mentors, 2 Amulets of the Dead, 1 Ring of Water Breathing, 1 Skull Staff, 1 Bloodstone, 1 Crystal Coin, and 1 Amulet of Anti-Magic. So a couple of new things this time around that we have not been forging, but I don't think anything super crazy here to discuss, right? Skull Staff, we just are using some of our death income to give us some more death boosters so we can use the high death in our actual combats. Bloodstone, we're going to start creating Bloodstones to pair up with our Earth Boots because we can't have a King of the Mountains or a King of Elemental Earth in every location, so we need to have Earth Boots and Bloodstones available for our Earth 2 Huron Priest or our Earth 2 Koyas, right? Easy peasy. Crystal Coin, again, just creating booster sets, nothing big, and Amulet of Anti-Magic, just creating opportunities. We're gonna be sending out another thing that I haven't really talked about with the Huron Priest is we're recruiting a lot of Huron Priests because we're fishing for astral randoms on the Huron Priests because we want to send out those astral randoms as summoning or as raiding parties, right? With Supayas. So like any Huron priest and then an astral random Huron priest, those two, sent out with 30 or so Supayas is a very difficult raiding party to deal with in easily conventional manner. Easily conventional methods. My god, my brain. Because the Supayas can wipe a lot of regular units, right? Including things like water elementals and water elemental casters, right? The Huron priests can actually do a lot of damage by buffing the Supayas and by summoning undead, or by doing things like disintegrate underwater, right? Which I believe you can do underwater. Disintegration. We don't have disintegration. That's going to be a problem. You can't cast it underwater though. We're already on our way. We're gonna be done with enchantment 8 next turn, and we'll be moving up alteration. So we'll definitely have it by then. So that's a potent thing. But normally, right, like you just mind hunt those fuckers. Send in an astral random Huron, and that you can still mind hunt them, but it does create this situation where people are more hesitant to mind hunt unless they have healers. Thank you, Arco. Right, that type of situation. So that's another reason why we're kind of fishing for Huron priests. And we want to send out things like amulets of anti-magic and potentially lodestone amulets on those Huron priests to make them more resilient against things like golems or shit like that coming in trying to snipe them with soul slays or other type of shit, or even against just regular mind hunts, because it might be a situation where Pelagia's like, yeah, fuck that, I don't care if he has an astral random, we're gonna risk it anyways, I've got healers, or I've got some way of dealing with this, or I'll just take it on the chin. Well, if we've got amulets of anti-magic, it's way more, or way less enthusiastic to be like, do I really want to gamble that? Sure, yeah, that type of situation. So that is kind of what it be. Anything else going on that's crazy with that? I don't think so. Skull Mentors, we're continuing to move upwards with our research, aiming for that 2,000 mark now. But I think we've reached the point to where we're gonna obtain the things that we want in the time that we need them, right? We're gonna be done with Enchantment 7, or Enchantment 8 next turn, which gets us access to mass regeneration and all of the fins, etc., etc. And then we're going to go up alteration 8 and 9, and that's going to get us Will of the Fates and the armies, as well as things like Disintegrate, Liquefy, Quickening, right? All useful situations, along with things like Ground Army, Wizard's Tower, good shit, right? Very happy to have all of that stuff. We will be done with Enchantment 8. Enchantment 7 will take 2 turns after that, right? So 73 will be done with Enchantment 8. 75 will be done with Alteration 8. And then by the time it's turn 80, we should be done with Alteration 9. So should be okay, right? It'll be coming in kind of like close to the wire, but we should have it. Now, there are still other things that we will really want, right? Obviously. And that is the reason why we're trying to scale up to that 2,000 mark, so that we can get closer to the, oh, just knock this out. Oh, just knock this out. Oh, just knock this out. Let's pick up some other things but at that point, I think we will have most of what we are aiming to get. One of the other things that I am really interested in picking up is Weapons of Sharpness in Construction 7, right? I do think that'll be very useful for us dealing with Pelagian armies underwater. We can put this on Supayas, right, and have them deal a shit ton of damage. And this isn't super hard for us to cast. Again, with a Huron priest doing something like Earth Boots Bloodstone, they'll be Earth 4 on a Earth 2 random. And then we summon Earth Power, Weapons of Sharpness, and Weapons of Sharpness hits a massive area. So a single Weapons of Sharpness caster, you have your Supayas. It's 100 casting time, so that means you can get 3. You can get a summon Earth Power and then 2 a cast, and then they'll up in the air, but their models will still be there, and you can get a cast again on them. So you can get a huge swath of units with that. And if we have 2 of them, we can blanket an entire army, basically. So weapons of sharpness is another big thing that I think we're going for. But I think we'll be able to launch a series of attacks, and I think we'll have a couple turns in the beginning of the war where Pelagia is responding to us prior to us needing every single little bit of research completed. So I think we have a little bit of breathing room. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. That's all that we really have going on. So another preparatory turn as we move forward with hopefully a oppressive war against Pelagia. I'm hoping. I'm still really, really hoping, right? It's entirely possible that we are just massively incorrect and that that we get our asses kicked by Pelagia. But I don't think that's the case, because I think Pelagia, one, took a very aggressive scales, or a very aggressive bless, right, to win the underwater war. So they have not been scaling well. Add in the fact that they had had a sub come in, and the sub's doing fine, but I don't think the sub is super enthusiastic, right? You know, they're not like, oh, I'm going to win the game. They're like, oh, I'm subbing, right? Which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? They're doing their duty, which is great, and we appreciate that. But they've also, both the original player and the sub, have thrown themselves mostly at the west coast, but a little bit at the east coast over here around Blackport, right? Have thrown themselves over and over again at these thrones or at these footholds on land, just trying to get something going, right? And not really getting a good go of it, right? Like we saw in Viserion Arches that massive amount of units lost for Pelagia, and it cost Arco to do that, but I think Pelagia has been having that happen to them over and over and over again throughout this game. And my hope is that we actually have lost very, very little. Since our comeback, we've had very few losses. Most of what we have done has been very safe, boring, unfortunately, but safe, and we've benefited from that. So I'm hoping, and even if we didn't, right, like we're reaching that point to where we're free spawning, quote unquote, so much stuff that I'm not sure it's going to matter. I'm hoping that it's not going to matter. I'm hoping we will overwhelm Pelagia in a tide of undead, and a targeted concentration of powerful mage cores to crack certain forts, win certain fights, and then I think Pelagia is going to be pissed. That's the hope, anyways. Okay, I have broken my voice. I'm now dying. That's going to be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.